Hello everybody, Chris Profi, Musically Obsessed, and I'm here with my friend Jeff Whitcher from Vinyl Destination. You guys are probably getting sick of seeing all of us shooting these videos and throwing these videos at you, but we want to make the most of our time here in Idaho. And this is going to be a short video, but I know today I plan on going to a record store, and I'm sure it's not going to be too much longer before my friend Jeff here walks into a record store too. So we were thinking about doing a video where we're going to tell you two artists that we're each hoping to see at the next record store that we walk into. Because a lot of times when we go, we're like, oh, I hope I find this artist, or I hope I find this band or this album. And you go in and you don't find them. And then you end up getting like your second or third or fourth choice. And you always have that album or that artist in the back of your head that you're hoping to see the next time you go into that store. So that's what the premise of this video is. So Jeff, you want to start?
Yeah, the first artist I'm going to go with is Tom Petty. Whenever I go to a record store, I rarely see any Tom Petty that isn't Damn the Torpedoes or You're Gonna Get It. Never see his first album, never see anything really from the early 80s, Long After Dark, or
what about Into the Great Wide Open? That would be a great album.
Yeah, Into the Great Wide Open, Southern Accents.
Full Moon Fever.
Yeah, any of those. So I'm always on the lookout, always hoping, always going through the P section, hoping there's going to be something there, but never found it yet. And there's not a whole lot on Amazon to be had, even reissues for Tom Petty, so that would be my first one.
Yeah, the only album on vinyl that I have by Tom Petty is Wildflowers, and Wildflowers happens to be my favorite Tom Petty record. But yeah, I would love to find Into the Great Wide Open. That Into the Great Wide Open is probably my second favorite Tom Petty. Full Moon Fever, like you had mentioned, Southern Accents would be great to find. You know what the thing is, probably nobody wants to get rid of those records.
Right. Yeah, or even his live album, Pack Up the Plantation.
Yeah.
I'd love to find that on vinyl.
Yeah, and I don't know about some of his later albums, but I mean, listen, if I come across any Tom Petty, definitely I would pick some up. That was a good choice. So, wow, so this is my first one. Okay, here we go. My first one is Michael Nesmith, and if you guys watch my channel, you know how I'm obsessed with the Monkees and Michael Nesmith. And I do have his first national band stuff, but I would like to find his album And the Hits Just Keep On Coming, from a radio wing, from a photon to a radio wing. I think that's the name of that album. Or, you know, even Live at the Palais, Live at the Brit Festival. I mean, he's got a lot of records that I still need in my collection. And you just don't come across Michael Nesmith a lot. And a lot of times I'll look through the Monkees section because they'll stick Nesmith albums in the Monkees section. I just don't see them that often. And I could get them on Discogs probably or eBay, but it's kind of fun to just walk in and start digging and find them. You know?
And I think it's the same reason why you were talking about Tom Petty, is people who bought Michael Nesmith, they're not getting rid of it. There weren't a whole lot of people. I don't think his albums were flying off the shelves back in the 70s, but people who bought them are not getting rid of them because they're quality albums. Mike Nesmith is a great singer-songwriter if you're a Monkees fan. Even if you're a fan of country rock like Poco or the Eagles or the Byrds, Flying Burrito Brothers, Michael Nesmith would be right there in your wheelhouse. You would like that music. But yeah, I think it's real hard. I think the only ones that are selling are maybe people who, you know, maybe mom or dad or somebody, you know, passed away, or, you know, they came into possession of a collection. They don't know what it is, and so they're unloading it. I don't know if anybody's found any Michael Nesmith in a thrift store that way, but I have never, I've seen one Mike Nesmith album in a record store that I've been to, and it was not in great shape.
Yeah, I think Gary from Physical Format came across Infinite Rider on the Big Dogma, I want to say.
Yeah, his last video that he did, he just showed that record.
And the other album, I think I messed it up. I think it's called From a Radio Engine to a Photon Wing. I think that's what it's called. But I also love his album Tantamount to Treason, which I would love to find as well. So yeah, today, maybe today I'll come across some Michael Nesmith. We'll see. I don't know. What's your second one?
My second one is going to be the Kinks, and I'm talking about early Kinks. I know everybody sees their later 70s stuff in the bins, you know, their early 80s stuff. Give the People What They Want is pretty easy to find. Sleepwalker is one of the albums you see a lot. I'm talking about the early 60s, mid 60s era Kinks, even late 60s Kinks. Just their early albums. The Rolling Stones' early albums are pretty difficult to find. The early Kinks albums are almost impossible, at least in the stores that I've been to, I think, because people are hanging on to them. They know they're valuable. They're not wanting to get rid of them. The earliest Kinks album that I have is a beat-up greatest hits album on Reprise, and then I've got a reissue of Face to Face. Not Face to Face, I'm sorry, something else by the Kinks. But I'd love to find Face to Face. I'd love to find Kink Controversy. Love to find the first Kinks album. You know, any of those. And the Kinks were like the other British bands in the early British invasion, like the Stones and the Beatles, where the American versions tend to have different track orders and different cover art and things like that. I'd be happy whether it's a British or an American issue of any of those early Kinks albums, but really hard to find.
And that's strange though, because I would assume that I mean, I love the Kinks too, and I would assume that the Kinks sold a lot of records. So you would think that you would be able to find Kinks records places, maybe not in the best of condition, but you think they'd be a little bit more you know, you'd see them more often.
Yeah, and I know when you do find them on Discogs anyway, I mean, they go for substantially more than even some of the early Beatle records do.
Well, hopefully the next time you go, you'll find some Kinks.
Me too.
And my second choice is Danzig. Now, love Danzig. I have Danzig's first album, and I just picked up his fourth record, but I would love to find Danzig 2, Lucifuge, and I also like to find Danzig 3, How the Gods Kill, on vinyl. And I have them on CD, I had them on cassette when I was younger, but man, if I could walk in and find, you know, Lucifuge or How the Gods Kill, I would definitely not think twice. I would pick those up. I'm so thankful Aaron Mutha Alamere just bought me Danzig 4, and I'll be showing that off in one of my videos coming up. But man, today, maybe I'll come across Lucifuge or How the Gods Kill, we'll see.
Yeah, I got my first Misfits album a couple of weeks ago, and then Aaron very generously gifted me the first Danzig album, which I've not heard anything other than the first track.
Right, Twist of Cain.
Yeah. So when I get back to Michigan, I'm definitely looking forward to spinning that one.
Definitely.
But yeah, it's good. I really had never been exposed when I was in high school to the Misfits, never heard anything of theirs. None of my friends were really into the Misfits, and then I started hearing about them on your channel, and other people were talking about the Misfits. And
yeah, you can't go wrong with anything by the Misfits or Sam Hain or Danzig. Maybe some of the later Danzig, but early Danzig, you can't go wrong. So.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for watching, guys. We're gonna get going because we're in the breakfast area, and it looks like other people are coming in. So, but thanks for watching, and we've enjoyed our time here in Idaho, trying to make the most of it, get the most videos we can, and we will see you guys on YouTube. Adios.